Wars saga is finally coming to a conclusion after 40 years. But does it end in the best light? Let's discuss it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a brand new movie review. Today I'm going to be discussing Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker in non-spoiler fashion, so you don't got to worry about spoilers over here. I'm basically just going to give you guys my first reactions coming out of the movie. What did I think? What did I like? And stuff like that, and the things that I can get into. But in a sense, you guys are safe here. And if you guys are new here, make sure again to hit that like and subscribe button, where I do tons of early movie reviews like this on a daily basis, talk tons of geeky content, and I want to discuss it with you guys. So make sure as well leave a comment down below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this film. Are you guys excited for it? Did you already see it? Let's discuss it. Rise of Skywalker is something that I've been definitely looking forward to, mostly because I love Star Wars, just like a lot of you guys have. But at the same time, I was very wary. I was very nervous at the same time of how this film was going to play out, just like I'm sure many of you guys also are feeling that same way, because after The Last Jedi, it didn't go the ways that we think it should have. A lot of it kind of divided it to where Star Wars became an iffy topic to talk about with any sort of geek and nerd. Okay, because that's what's great about film, is that everything is subjective. And after this film comes out, it's going to be very interesting to discuss with you guys what your guys' thoughts are, and in general to discuss with many people what their thoughts are on this film, because I do think this film is going to be mixed. I think there are going to be many people who love it. I think there are going to be many people who do not like it. And I think there are going to be people in the middle, where they're like, I like that choice, I don't like that choice, and overall I'm kind of mixed as well. For me, I thought this was a good movie. I enjoyed it for sure. I do have some nitpicks with it, but overall I enjoyed the film, and I think there are a lot of great things in it. A lot of good things. Some things I'm still processing, because there is a lot to this movie. After surviving the events of The Last Jedi, the Resistance faces the First Order once more in the final chapter of the Skywalker saga. Of course, with this being the ending of the Skywalker saga, we left The Force Awakens with many questions unanswered, Last Jedi not fulfilling many of those, even earlier Star Wars films that did leave us some questions that needed to be answered. And for 2 hours and 21 minutes, that's a lot to be packed into here. And what I can definitely say in this one is that J.J. Abrams directed this film, and you can definitely feel that this feels very much like a sequel to Force Awakens, while also being another film in its whole entirety. This movie has a lot, and there's a lot going on at times. That's why I'm excited to see this film again on Thursday, to see and process everything, and really sit on it even more. Because this is my first reaction. This is the one-time viewing. Films can develop and age greatly, and can also age badly. There's times to be told about this one, but walking out, you feel this anxious feeling about it of, well, man, they answered a lot, but they also gave me a couple more questions to be asked as well. Which I know they said that the Skywalker saga is done, but I think those answers could be answered later down the road, whether in Disney Plus, comics, books, all sorts of stuff like that. We can't get into those because that is a spoiler thing. But like I said, many of the questions that you've been wondering do get answered in here. Some predictable, some feeling very much like fan service. A lot of fan service, in fact, is in this film, especially if you're a die-hard Star Wars film. And fan service can be a good and a bad thing. I think this film mixed it in is a good and a bad thing as well. Some of the fan service I really liked. Some of it I thought was fine and just done to be fan service. I think my biggest issue with Rise of Skywalker, though, comes down to the pacing. Like I said, there's a lot to this film. And this movie hits the ground running and flies off into hyperspeed and never stops. Absolutely never stops for a break of emotion, or really a break of peace and time, other than maybe a couple different sequences. And when it did get into those sequences, that's when the tears were shed from me. And that's when I felt the goosebumps arising. Overall, the whole film, while it is very entertaining, all the action set pieces are excellently done, and I mean really well done. J.J. Abrams knows how to shoot those action sequences. Whether you're seeing the Millennium Falcon fly around, whether you're seeing Rey and Kylo face off, it's all elements like that that you've been looking forward to and you want to see in your Star Wars films, but it's also those subtle moments that you do want to see, and I felt like this film did not have enough of those to really have us process some of the answers that are delved into as we have been waiting for these for the last 5 or 6 years. Even more than that, when it dives into other questions that have been around for quite a bit. I think if it comes down to anything in this film, I think this film could have honestly been longer. I think this film felt, for pacing, it flew by. This film flies by. Times, it felt like there was maybe a missing 20 to 40 minutes that could have been added to this film. And I know that already sounds really long for 2 hours and 21 minutes, but it did feel like there was more that needed to be added, because he's pretty much doing a sequel to Force Awakens, while also, I'm not saying that he completely retcons everything in Last Jedi. He does bring a lot of elements from that as well, but at the same time tries to mix them together, and also tries to conclude the whole saga, which is just it's a big achievement in itself that JJ is going to have to do that all together, which I get why he's going for a very fast-paced and brisk thing with that, but it's either you make the film longer or you just do another film in that part, because it did feel like something and elements that were missing that I wanted to know just a little bit more of. You know, I'm being vague, but you gotta be vague when talking about Star Wars, because I don't want to ruin it for you guys. When it comes down to all the characters in here, this is easily the best dynamic between Poe, Finn, and Rey. You get a lot of time with them, and the chemistry that you spend with them really feels, and it's the first time that I've actually felt this through this new trilogy, that they feel like the original squad, like with Han, Leia, and Luke. I'm not saying that they're as great as them, but it finally feels that way. And there's different dynamics that kind of go between them that you really do appreciate, and really just fundamentally adds more to it. Also, when you add in Chewbacca and C-3PO, all great. But really, it's Kylo Ren that, again, Adam Driver steals this show. I love what he's done with Kylo Ren throughout this whole entire saga. He's one of the best actors working today, and he does a lot with this character in the way that he fundamentally changes throughout this story. The way that he's fundamentally gone through this whole trilogy is quite unique, and to see where he ends up in this one is honestly something that I really liked. Even though I said that he stole the show, it doesn't mean that Poe Dameron and Finn didn't as well. Their bromance is just off the charts great, and Rey herself, Daisy Ridley, just does such a great job with a lot of emotional beats that she happens to go throughout this whole film. But honestly, the main thing that I must give it a true accomplishment to inside this film is everything they did with Leia. Carrie Fisher sadly passed after Last Jedi, and she was not able to film her scenes in here. With the use of movie magic, they were able to insert her into the film and truly makes her the charming soul of this whole entire movie, and the way that they integrate her into the whole entire story. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, stunning, and was truly some of the best moments of the whole entire film, and just a big round of applause to everyone on board who made that happen. Of course, when it comes to newcomers like Johanna, Allegiant General Pride played by Richard E. Grant, or even Kerry Russell who plays Zori, I really like these new characters, and I actually wanted just a little bit more of them. Richard E. Grant eats up the scenery, and the fact that this is his first Star Wars film is blasphemy. This guy should have been in almost every Star Wars film with the amount of detail and just the amount of grit that he can bring to this role. Kerry Russell is awesome. I loved her new character, and really, if they want to make a Disney Plus series out of her, I'm completely fine with it. Really, there's so much backstory that I want to know about her character, and I hope they actually do dive into that, whether it's in a Disney Plus series or in a comic book or something like that. Of course, Johanna, played by Naomi Acol, is absolutely just a stunning star who really, while she doesn't have a lot to do in here, I felt like her charm just came right off the screen. Speaking of charm, I haven't mentioned Lando, who really, seeing Billy D. Williams come back in the role, you get a big smile on your face throughout it. You do have a big smile on your face. While I even had some of those issues, I still shed a big smile. I had tears in my eyes at certain moments, and I even had goosebumps rupturing through my skin. It's elements like this that make me truly fall in love with what Star Wars truly is. And while I come out of the film feeling that it's a good movie, maybe feeling that I wanted just a little bit more from this film, I still left satisfied at the least. Before I give you guys my final thoughts on Rise of Skywalker, make sure again to hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this film. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? Let's discuss it down below, guys, in the comments. And of course, if you guys are new here, make sure to head over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early. And of course, a big thank you to you and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. Rise of Skywalker is definitely epic in its grand scale of themes when it comes to the battle sequences and how beautifully they look. Technically, this film is great, and JJ knows how to do all that greatly. While I felt like his pacing was definitely way too fast, and I felt like there was at least 30 minutes in here that could have been added in here for more character development, and while it was more focused on the plot than character points, there were still character interactions in here that made this film worthwhile and ended up making this saga feel satisfying in its conclusion. It's going to be definitely a diversive one in that fact. I think many people will love it. I think many people will dislike it. I think also many people will feel mixed on it. But only time will tell for how this film ages within the Star Wars saga. I'm just glad that we have more Star Wars movies because I love diving into these worlds. Again, big standouts in here with Poe, Finn, Rey, and of course Kylo Ren, Adam Driver doing great jobs. There's definitely a lot of big surprises in here that really make you jump up, have your heart started, and really get you smiling from ear to ear, and even leaving you with a couple tears in your eyes. When it got to those small subtle moments, those are the moments that I was aging for, and I just loved them. And while again I wish there was more of it, especially when you come about certain revelations that come throughout the story, those are the things I wanted more of. While I feel mixed on a lot of those and how rushed it felt in some of the plot lines, I can still say that I walked out of Rise of Skywalker enjoying it, having a blast in the theater, and really looking forward to Thursday night when I get to see the movie again. But guys, that's going to be my thoughts on Rise of Skywalker. So with all that said, I'm going to give Rise of Skywalker a B+. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on Rise of Skywalker. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? Let's discuss it down below in the comments. This rating could easily go up. It could easily go down. But time again will tell, guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching this. Of course, look out for that spoiler review coming out this weekend. May the Force be with us all, and I'll see you guys soon.